Thank you both for coming. I talked a little bit about your past and where you come from. Maybe you can share the story and how you actually have overcome finally your, being enemies on both sides.
Thank you for having us. Imam and I used to be sworn enemies. In the past, I hate the Muslims so much that I can kill any Muslim at the slightest chance. In 1992, I lost my hand fighting Imam's boys. They chopped off my hand when an encounter, a religious encounter began. So Imam and I fighting on the opposite side. Of course, my boys also have killed his teacher and two of his cousins. And that is where we are coming from.
And I think the very important thing is you can say, if we are two opposite enemies, how are we able to reconcile? What are the motives? What really brings us together? I think one important thing is the enmity that grows comes from passion for our religious belief. Then we are guided, mentored by incapable and mischievous religious leaders. Incapable religious leaders and mischievous religious leaders. Because there are three categories of religious leaders we all know today and we live with them. The first one is incapable religious leaders. The second one is mischievous religious leaders. And the third one is the ideal religious leaders. Incapable because he has half-baked knowledge. He couldn't understand the text, but he feels he's a moving encyclopedia. And he continues giving fatwas and judgment on religious issues. The mischievous is a moving encyclopedia. You understand the religion, but because of greed, selfishness, political interest, he chose the other way around, and then he started misleading millions of the followers, promoting hate, division, and demonization of the other. Whereas the ideal religious leaders is the ideal, silent, but never come on the front page of the newspaper, because he doesn't make news. It's not when the dog bites the man that becomes the news, until when the man bites the dog that becomes the news. So because of these challenges we have, we fall into the hand of incapable religious leaders. They teach us to hate instead of to love. And going through the ideal religious leaders, I met one of my teachers say, look, you cannot promote religion of Islam with hate. Islam as a religion is a social tool for positive engagement in a given society. It's a tool that added value to the dignity of the human family. So you cannot be religious at the same time be full of hate in your heart. You have to find a way of change. How do I change? You say identify your worst enemy and go and turn him to become your friend. And that is the journey. How can my worst enemy become my best of friend? You see, if I want to be a true Muslim, go and identify the worst of enemy and go and do everything possible to make him the best of friend. When you do this, you are a living model of the teaching of what Islam teaches.
But you know, I was quite suspicious when he came.
So did he call you? He just picked up the phone and said, hey, let's meet?
Actually, it was a chance meeting. In my entire life, I never thought we could be friends. If we have to meet, it is to fight. But unfortunately, there was an issue over child immunization in Nigeria, and I was representing Youth Christian Association of Nigeria. He was representing Muslim Youth Organization of Nigeria, and we met by chance. We never planned to come together. And when we met, we discovered that we have so many things in common, but we never share with one another. And we also discovered there was the Herculean task before us. Nigeria of about 170 million people. If we don't come together to work and prevent disintegration of the country, no country in the world can accommodate the refugees that will come from Nigeria. Not even Germany. Germany will be overwhelmed when we come to this country. So it became imperative that Imam and I have to agree to disagree and become the best of friends.
Just like that.
It wasn't easy. You know, having hate and pain and programmed to hate the other, it's not easy to deprogram and reprogram. It took us time to overcome our anger and pains and forgiveness. Herculean task indeed. When he came to me asking for friendship to work together to stop violence in the community, I was so afraid that he might be deceiving me. And so it took us 1 year to persuade our young people to say, can we talk with the other person? Crossing the red line. Here is the red carpet. But here we're all on the red carpet. But then it was crossing the red line was difficult. And it took the spirituality in me to forgive and let go the pain. Similarly,
it's also the same about myself. My spiritual teacher is a person who always tells me, for you to be great, you have to consider the other person. Every human being is a mirror of God. You can see God in the other person. It is your humanity. The higher in your humanity, ability to be compassionate, to accept the others for who they are, it is the springboard that makes you great. I feel he's not talking. I need a sharp, smart team. So I went to these incapable religious leaders by the street, corner of the street, and they poisoned my heart to say, hey, you need to fight, you need to fight, you need to fight. And that was how I came in. So losing two of my relations, losing my spiritual teacher, it's full of pains. But I was told, I find within this portion of the scripture of the Quran that teach me to say, look, the best you can give is to go beyond human, beyond the law of reciprocity, give and take. Be the best of human by ability to extend forgiveness. And he told me the consequences. If my ability to forgive, I become free. Because unforgiveness creates pain within, and it destroys the seal within us that what makes us healthy. And to let go is to be healthy. To let go is to have a clear conscience, a clear mind, a clear vision of ability to see the future. So, and that was the tools. That was the encouraging thing that gave me ability to say, let me take the 4th inch and get closer to once upon a time the worst of friend. Now I'm becoming the best of friends.
So, how did you work with your groups, like, the Christian side and your Muslim community? I'm sure there were doubts. People were saying, don't go, don't talk to this guy. He's a dangerous guy. How did you deal with this? I mean, with, the people in your community?
Thank you very much. I come from a background of an evangelical Pentecostal pastor. Don't have anything to do with them. And we preach isolation and not inclusiveness. Maybe here in Germany you are very friendly, but back home we can be very antagonistic. And we say the words as they are. When we started, some young people came to me and said, James, you preach, you are a televangelist, we like the way you talk on television, but your relationship with the Muslim we hate. And one of them banged his hand on my table and said, James, you ought to be careful. We can even sacrifice you. That, in code, means I can be wasted. But with persuasion, some senior personalities say, James, we think you are doing the part which is right. Go ahead. Even if the young people will not join you, we will support you. And today, I'm excited that there is proliferation of initiatives like ours in our country because of Boko Haram. People really have come together to try to address contemporary issues facing the community. But it wasn't rosy before. It was difficult. And you have to turn and look behind you if somebody is coming behind you, either to eliminate you. But we kept on doing it. Resilience. Now identify with Asna, the man who just spoke now. When he was speaking about his challenges, I said, I need to relate with this guy because he is a champion.
Yes.
For me, it's not easy. For me, people are looking at the pains they pass through. There's a lot of destructions on both sides. And people, my youth group is divided into three. Some see me as compromisers. You are compromising, we don't need to compromise. Others see me as traitors. I'm betraying the cause. Why should you have to do? We have nothing to do with it. And then the silent majority see me as ideal, but they have no courage to come out in the open field and say, we're gonna work with them. It's good to work with the other. So, and dealing with them, I went into dialogue very often, very difficult. There's a lot of confrontation, a lot of threat to life for you to be able to work with the others. And I continue. And of course, it got to a point that a fatwa was given, and we have to move to a table with the senior religious leaders in the state, and we discuss. And the religious leaders become the umpire between the two of us and those who oppose working with the others, people of other faith. And at the end of the day, they have no judgment. And the judgment was in my favor to say what I'm doing, working with the other, it is embedded principles within our religious traditions. So you cannot be true to your faith and tradition as a Muslim when you dehumanize the other and you refuse to connect with the other on the human family and the human global level. I think this is the very important thing that gave me the ability to continue moving forward, and I continue on this journey. And today, many of those who see me as even a traitor, they are now joining our groups and saying, oh, this is the idea, we need to work together. Because one important thing, there is this fear, ability to conquer the fear of unknown, the fear of the other. If I inch, am I compromising my values? Am I giving too much out? And the reality is, when you inch towards the other, the identity we use is, I am not compromising. I don't compromise at all. I don't need to compromise my values to work with the other, but to move beyond tolerance. And moving beyond tolerance is to see the humanity of the others, to see what Alexander said, those things that bind us together. What Kellen says here, those things that unify us as human family. It is the humanity I see in him, I see in you, not the identity, the racial identity or the religious identity in you. That is the key thing that
keeps me going. It's not about religion, it's about love.
See, the audience is, I think, totally on my side. So I'm thinking, what can we learn? Like, what is the most important part? It's about leadership. It's about courage. You seem both to be very courageous men, taking that journey, taking the challenges of convincing others, and you needed trust. You were trusting each other. So is this the first thing to do? Is that important? Because if you look at all the conflicts we have in the world, there's so much to learn from what you say. And there's so much to learn even for us as a nation right now, embracing the other, embracing something that we don't know.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's trust, but it's not easy to come by. It took me 3 years to actually let go my pain. There were instances when we share rooms out of necessity, I was tempted to carry a pillow and suffocate him while he sleeps. And this is real. This is real. Because I was processing the pains of losing my hand. And we realized that the trust we have built between one another has a multiplying effect in the country among young people. Former fighters, now the best of friends, working together even in the Nigeria and other areas we have gone in Africa, in Kenya and other places, people saw that it is possible to disagree and yet live together. He has said we don't compromise. We remain as tenaciously, as zealously as possible as religious followers of our tradition. Yet, we feel strongly that our religious tradition should not negate the principle of the universal family. You can have pains, yet you can process your pain. And when you process your pain, you heal. And you don't heal yourself alone, you heal any spectator that is looking at you. We are not just dramatizing what we are doing here. It's real. It's real. We even telepathy because of our constant working together. So trust is what you build step by step. But with the stage we are here why we are here particularly, I think give the person an opportunity to prove. Do not generalize, always specify. Don't stereotype. Let people prove who they are by what they say or what they do. But don't say these people are all like that. It hurts. It hurts a lot.
For me, one thing I would like people to take away: migrants are coming, either in the name of refugees or whatever names. They are coming with their garbages. They are coming with their religion. They are coming with their culture. They are coming with their traditions. Please open your hearts. Watch. How do you accept them for who they are? Let's look at the process of integration, not assimilation. A process of helping them to be the best within our own culture and getting the best that we have here, coming with the best they have there to be able to work together. Because as long as you didn't move beyond tolerance, then there is going to be difficulty in the future. And this is one of the gifts we come with as Ashoka Fellow, to say society will always be a better if we see all as the human family, and each one, like what they call in Singapore, they call it the Roja Pot, where each person comes with the best he has, with the best he is, or the best of what he is, but it's still having one nation with diversity. So I expect a scream of a rainbow in the sky. We need to work like rainbow, because each person is coming with the best of what he has, and together we'll be able to build a better future.
Thank you.
Thank you. The problem is the people who are the problem. It is the driver of religion that become the problem, not the religion as a problem. And I know this is what my friend always tell me, that you have Mercedes-Benz car, I always the story. The Mercedes is the best kind. There are only two cars, Mercedes and others. So they say. So if that is true, if you give a Mercedes-Benz car to a drunken driver and he bang the car to the wall, do we blame the Mercedes or we blame the driver?
The driver.
It is the driver. Therefore, most of our drivers, the incapable and mischievous religious leaders, they are the problem, not religion. Religion should be part of the solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.